Welcome back to the It's a Classic podcast. I'm your host, Zion Lashua, and I'm here once again with my good friend Shawn. Shawn, say hi.
Hello.
Oh, that was nice.
that
was a nice hello.
Tones.
You could lean in and get a little...
Some ASMR. Hello. Hello there.
Oh my god. Okay, so I want to ask you, so we kind of went over a bit how much you know about like the Greek world in general, but how much you know about like Greek mythology?
Or, more specifically, Hercules?
Yeah.
Or Heracles?
Yeah, more specifically.
All right, I'll give you everything I know about Heracles.
Okay, sure.
Okay?
Let's do that.
So, first of all, he's actually named Heracles because he was born from Hera's head.
Mm.
I guess somewhere along the line, they just changed it to Hercules. Romans, probably, after they kind of adapted the story. He was a god. Oh, God. Okay, I'm just going to lead into the joke. Hades knew that in 18 years, a planetary alignment would make the Titans be able to be awakened. And so he sent his two snake goons. I think their name was like Pain and Punishment.
Something like that.
Into
I think Panic and Fear or something. I don't know.
Panic and Disco.
Hades sent his two goons, Panic and Disco, to kill Hercules in his bed.
And then he tied them together or something. And so they stole him from his bed and made him drink a thing. And then I don't know how much of this is actual just made up from Disney.
Right.
And then he didn't drink it all, so he lost his immortality, but he was still strong. Mm-hmm. And then Danny DeVito trained him.
That much, crazy enough, is accurate.
Really?
No, Danny. I mean, he does.
Is there a satyr that trains him?
Yes.
Is it Danny DeVito?
Maybe. I don't know. I wasn't there.
What else? I'm pretty sure Meg doesn't actually exist. Mm-hmm. And I'm pretty sure she was a sexual awakening for many a young lad and lady, if they swing that way.
Right, sure, yeah.
I'm pretty sure none of that story is accurate.
So what I thought was pretty interesting is that the Hercules Disney movie was the only one that I knew the original story first, right? So the way it because I'd known the story of Hercules before because I was a big nerd, myth nerd kid. So I read a bunch of Greek mythology.
You didn't know about
the
Little Mermaid.
No, I mean, but that does exist as what's his name?
Grimm Snarl's Tale.
No, it's not the Grimm brothers, but it's another one whose name I've forgotten. But anyway, so all these stories exist. Like Beauty and the Beast. These are all old stories that Disney kind of has reimagined in a new way.
It's a German dude with a G name. I'm pretty sure.
Right. But anyway,
not important.
No, it's not super important. But I'm gonna look it up anyway because it's gonna kill me.
I'm pretty sure it's Grimm Snarl.
Hans Christian Andersen is the one who wrote The Little Mermaid.
Yeah, Andersen.
Yeah.
Right, okay.
So Hans Christian Andersen.
Hans.
Yeah. So he's the one who wrote The Little Mermaid and a bunch of other stories. He wrote a bunch, and Disney's adapted them. So anyway, I didn't know any of those stories. I've since learned about them through podcasts and other stuff, and how the different adaptations are. So when I was watching the Hercules for the first time, because I just watched it late, I for some reason, even though I was a huge myth nerd kid, didn't watch Hercules growing up. So I learned about it later. So it was really interesting to me to see kind of how they changed it. So you're right, a lot of what is in there isn't accurate, but it's really interesting to see how they were trying to take this story, which is a very not PG story, and make it into a family-friendly movie. The first thing that Disney kind of had to establish, Disney really wanted there to be a nuclear family, right? They wanted Hercules to be from a mother and father that were together,
right?
Zeus and Hera.
Didn't Hera hate Zeus?
I mean, Hera was married to Zeus, but also, for sure hated him because Zeus cheated on her all the time.
There seems to be a common theme with Greek wives.
Oh, just having no agency and their husband just cheating on them. Yeah, for sure. So that's a good amount of info, and I'm excited to see how you get to see kind of what Disney kept and what they changed. I think that's kind of an interesting thing to look at. But but the story of Hercules, it's a classic. See, no cringing this time. So
I'm cringing.
Did it get better?
It's not going to get better. I have to get used to it.
Anyway, do you think I should put the intro song right after It's a Classic and then cut back to so it didn't get any better? Okay, so the first thing we have to do is we have to get to Heracles first, right? So because he didn't come out of nowhere.
He came out of her head. Which is kind of coming out of nowhere.
He did not. But
Wait, he didn't come
You're
out of her
thinking
head?
Athena. Athena was born from Zeus's head, I think is what you're thinking. But maybe, I don't actually remember the beginning of the Disney movie. Maybe he did come out of her
No,
head.
I think he was just
But-
he was just in a crib and was
Right.
born. Yeah.
So, but pre-Heracles, we got to go all the way back to this dude named Cepheus, who was the king of Ethiopia. So,
Oh, okay.
yeah, don't worry. So his wife, Cassiopeia, claimed that
Cassiopeia?
Cassiopeia, not O. It was like
Okay.
Cassiopeia.
Okay.
Yeah, I mean, she claimed that her beauty rivaled the gods, which is like an absolute no-no in Greek mythology.
Mhm.
You can never be like, wow, I'm as pretty as the gods, because you will just get smote or something.
Mhm.
So, mistake. So she claimed to be more beautiful than the Nereids, which were a bunch of like minor sea goddesses, right? Like they don't like actually like, they're not like Poseidon or any of the big ones, but they are
They're like
technically
Poseidon's
still...
goons.
Yeah, a little
He's
bit.
like wenches.
So, but Poseidon, even though like she didn't offend him personally, got enraged that she would even say that his like underlings,
Mhm.
she's more beautiful than them. So he got enraged. So he sent floods and a sea monster to terrorize the country of Ethiopia. The colossal sea monster ravaged the coastline, and a seer claimed that if Cepheus, right? Yeah, that's what I said. A seer claimed that if Cepheus sacrificed his daughter Andromeda to the monster, it would be sated and leave. So then the country would be safe. The king, like, so a seer
Why
was
didn't
like,
you just sacrifice the
sacrifice the
girl
daughter.
that like made the claim.
his wife. No,
Yeah.
I can't do that. That's not what the seer wanted.
Is it this? Are they three ladies with one eyeball?
No, this is just like a random kind of like oracle seer,
Okay.
not like the oracle at Delphi, which is a whole
Wait,
different
is this
thing.
the guy that stabs the ocean?
What?
Okay, so I don't know the details,
Mhm.
but there's like a crazy, I think it was Nero, Emperor, because he's the craziest one that
Yeah,
I
he's
know.
pretty crazy.
That like declared war on Poseidon and started just stabbing the ocean. He's like,
He's like, I'll get you.
yeah, get him.
Oh, that's good. No, there was another crazy Roman emperor who like appointed his horse to the Senate, which I forget which one it was. Maybe I'll put it in post. But there was a Roman emperor who was like, yeah, my horse is a senator now. He gets a vote just like all of you do.
How did the horse vote?
I don't know. This was in that era of Nero, kind of where the Roman emperors started to be just off the wall. Hey everybody, editing Zion here. I'm just here to pop in and clarify a few things. The first of which being that it's kind of funny. Shawn and I are actually both talking about the same Roman emperor, known as Caligula. Both of these stories are actually attributed to him. The first being that he waged war on the ocean, had his soldiers go and attack the ocean, claim victory, and then take some seashells as their like war prizes. The second story is that he elected his horse to be a consul, which is like a bit more dubious, but also could be a bit of a more interesting story, because it could be actually to mock the consuls and the senators rather than just an act of insanity. There's a lot of really funny stuff about this guy, Caligula, so he'll probably be the topic of its own episode, so stay tuned.
Were they like, they were elected, right? They weren't like hereditary?
Well, so yes, but no. Like, so yes, if you were the emperor and you had a son and he was like smart enough to retain power,
Mhm.
he would get it, but that often did not happen. It was
Mhm.
mostly like, especially in the later Roman Empire, the soldiers would kind of just gather behind a dude, be like, declare him the new emperor. They would march on the capital, throw out the old emperor. That emperor was emperor now.
Oh,
It was chaos. Like
okay.
late Roman Empire was absolute chaos in terms of like sequential.
So the reason
like,
they were
ruling.
crazy is because you just chose a random dude.
Yeah, probably. And you were just like, he seems okay.
Yeah.
He definitely seems like the dude who won't put his horse in the Senate, and they were
Mhm.
wrong.
Yeah, they were wrong.
Anyway, so they have to sacrifice Andromeda to the sea monster. So he does it. He puts her on a rock in the middle of the rough sea and just like waits for the sea monster to eat her. But she's rescued by a dude named Perseus, like the famous Perseus,
From the book?
not Percy Jackson.
Oh.
But that is in the book Percy Jackson. That's what Percy's named after. Like
Mhm.
his mom. I mean, this is I guess a spoiler a little bit for Perseus himself. His mom named Percy because Perseus is one of the few heroes in Greek myth who gets a happy ending.
Oh.
Like he doesn't die horribly or whatever.
Mhm.
So
Is he the one that like killed Medusa?
Mhm.
Oh, okay.
yeah, it's like he's a famous dude.
Yeah.
So he rescues Andromeda from the rock, and the two of them, surprisingly, like I said, live happily ever after with little intervention by the gods into their own lives. So
Okay.
like, which does not happen. The gods always like to intervene and get their little fingers in everything. Their kids, however, is who we're going to be talking about going forward a little bit. So one of their kids, Electron. Sorry, Electrion.
Oh, okay.
Very close.
And his brother Proton and his brother Neutron.
Neutron. So Electrion had a daughter named Alcmene. And so Electrion was the king of Mycenae, which is like a city-state, right?
Mhm.
Then a rival group, the Teleboans, came to reclaim what they thought was rightfully theirs. They had ruled this land earlier, so they were trying to come back and get it from Electrion. So Electrion defeated them and rejected their claim, But in the process, like, most of his sons died. Like 8 out of 9 of his sons died in this conflict. So then in retaliation for losing, like as they're like running away, the Teleboans are like, fine, but we're going to take your cows. So they took all his cows and they left the country. So Electrion,
everyone knows that a faithful, like a successful conquest is to kill all the dude's sons and take their cows.
I mean, I think they kind of like, despite the fact that they lost by definition, they do kind of come out the winners here. Like they killed 8 of his sons and then took his cows
and no milk.
Yeah, exactly. Well, how's he gonna feed the new sons? There's no milk. There's no strong bones.
Their bones are gonna be so weak.
Gonna have squishy bones. So Electrion went on an expedition to retrieve his cattle and like get revenge for his sons. So
I think maybe she'll end with that.
Maybe
I gotta get those cows back.
Yeah.
Oh, and maybe
maybe like I'm a bit upset you killed my sons. So Electrion entrusted the kingdom and his daughter Alcmene to Amphitryon, his brother, another child of Perseus. These are both like children of Perseus. So Electrion was successful. He got his cattle back. So when he was leading the cattle back to the kingdom, welcomed by Amphitryon, one of the cattle went wild and charged. So he was leading a big group of cattle back in. One of them like freaked out and just started charging. Amphitryon took out his club and threw the club at the cow, right? To like knock it out. Just wait, dude. The club then rebounded off of the cow's like head and hit Electrion in the head and killed him. So
bonk, bonk.
Yeah, exactly. And they both just died. Well, I don't know. The cow, I think, lived, but Electrion died.
Wow.
So
do you think that cow was a plant? Like
the Teleboans, the guys who stole, were like, we're gonna put a rogue cow in the mist.
A wild cow in here,
just in case
it'll pan out.
Well, if they did, they were right. So he was dead now, and Amphitryon, his brother, was then banished from the kingdom of Mycenae because he had just killed the king. So now we're going to talk about Amphitryon. He's the next important figure in this, like,
there's a lot of
this
stuff
chain.
before.
I know, right? It's like, the other thing is, I kind of mentioned this last episode too.
It's like fan fiction.
You always want to connect people to other famous people. So like, Heracles had to be the children descended from some other famous dude, right? Like, it would be weird if he just came out of nowhere.
I thought was he not a child of the gods?
Half a child of the gods.
Oh, Zeus like raped someone.
We'll get to it. Okay. But he was a descendant from Perseus. Is kind of this is what this timeline is establishing. So Amphitryon was now banished, but then he also took Alcmene with him, who was Electrion's daughter, right? The princess of Mycenae. Anyway.
Oh yeah, okay.
The two of them left together because they had kind of like become buddy. That's his niece.
Yeah.
Anyway. So they go to Thebes. There, Creon, the king of Thebes, purified Amphitryon of his accidental murder of his brother. So like you have like this like blood curse on you until you're like purified by like a priest. So like he got purified, so he's good now, I guess. Alcmene said that she would marry Amphitryon, again his niece, if he finally avenged her brothers, because Electrion did get the cows back, but didn't actually kill any of the Teleboans in revenge for his sons dying. So Alcmene was like, "Can you avenge my brothers?"
I thought you meant the revenge was against the cow.
No, I wish. That'd be way funnier. No, so they had to go and like kill a bunch of Teleboans to avenge her brothers, and then if he did that, she would marry him. So Amphitryon asked Creon for help.
Who's Creon?
The king of Thebes. Oh, that's where they are right now. You might remember him from Oedipus. Creon's in Oedipus.
Is he the one that like?
He's like the advisor in Oedipus, and then in Antigone, he's the king.
No.
Anyway,
did he have a bunch of dudes at his wife's house when he came back eating food?
That's Odysseus.
Oh, okay. Oedipus was okay,
Oedipus, like the play we read in high school.
Yeah.
Those probably be episodes too, because those are also wild.
Isn't the Odyssey like?
The Odyssey is crazy.
Isn't it like super long?
Oh yeah.
Okay.
The Iliad and the Odyssey are like mega stories, and they're awesome. They're so good. What was I talking about? Oh yeah. So Amphitryon asked Creon for help, for the help of Thebes to fight against the Teleboans, because he couldn't just do it by himself, because he's just one dude. So Creon said that he would help, but first he needed a favor. There was a giant fox that was terrorizing the land, and it was known as the Taumesian fox. And if Amphitryon like killed the fox, then Creon would help.
Then you absorb it into your belly.
Yeah, and then
your son, who has got little swirlies on his cheeks and yellow hair, is a little rascal. And he
likes ramen.
And he likes ramen.
And he like unleashes the fox demon.
We gotta stop with the anime.
I love
dude.
Naruto.
We gotta
dude.
stop with the anime.
So the fox was sent by Dionysus, but I like this part. No one's really sure why he sent it. He just sent it to start terrorizing the land. It was fated, this is kind of cool, that this fox would always evade capture. Like, it could never be caught. Like, that was kind of its, like...
Magic power.
Yeah, that was his magic power. And villages would sacrifice a son every month to the fox. They'd be like, okay, in order to, like, appease it, we'll just put our boy out in the forest, and the fox will eat the boy and then not kill us. So, perplexed, Amphitryon visited Athens and spoke to Kephalos, who had a magic dog named Lilaps, also known as the Hurricane. So he had a dog named Hurricane, and this dog was fated to always catch whatever it chased.
Oh,
so now you're seeing where this is going.
There's a paradox here.
So this magic dog he got from Procris, who got it from Minos. Anyway, it's a whole like big chain of this magic dog. But anyway, so Amphitryon gets it. He basically bargains with Kephalos and says, okay, in exchange for some of the profits for looting the Teleboians when I eventually go loot them.
Wait, hold on.
Yeah.
Is it just a normal-sized dog against a giant fox?
Yeah, but it'll always catch it, though.
But that doesn't mean you're going to win.
Right. So in order for that, Kephalos was like, okay, you can use my magic dog. The dog then set after the fox, and then they would... So it would make sense if they were forever locked in like an eternally impossible chase, right? Like, that's the idea.
Oh, another.
I'm gonna find you. So that's the idea, right? That they would be trapped in a forever kind of chase. But Zeus is like, I don't like paradoxes, so he just turned them both to stone. He did not want a paradox messing up his perfect world, so he had to just fix it right away. So now the fox is gone. So
That's okay.
Amphitryon then went to fight the Teleboians. And
Wait, that dude just lost his magic dog?
Yeah.
All
He
right.
got turned to stone.
Did he at least keep the rock like a smooth? Like he's like.
He better get a big cut of the loot. That's all I'm saying. Because he did just lose a magic dog. Oh, you think he like kept a bit of it?
Like how you keep your smooth stone in your
Like,
room?
look, dude, the smooth rock is nice because it's a nice memory, and you can spin it.
His rock is a memory of his magic dog.
He probably could just take the whole statue of the dog, just put it out front of his front door.
Oh, it's a statue. Oh, they just turned them to stone.
Yeah, stone. Did I say stones?
No,
Maybe.
I when you said turn them to stone, I thought you meant they like just poof turned into like these tiny little rocks.
No, I assume they just froze in place like
Okay,
turned to
that
stone.
makes way more sense.
Yeah, so then I assume he could just take the statue of the dog and put it out front of his front door and be like, "This is my dog," but now it's a rock.
Next to his penis statue.
Yeah, of course, because he has to mark his territory like a dog would. Which they
With
also
their
use.
penises.
Dude,
Oh my god.
There's a big joke there, but
We're not
smart enough to figure it out. But I'll let someone else do it. So so while Amphitryon was then away fighting the Teleboians with the help of Thebes, right? Alcmene was left alone in Thebes. Now she caught the eye of Zeus.
Wait, who's this? Oh,
Alcmene,
the girl who was the son of the dude who said, "Go
Yes.
kill those dudes."
Yes.
Okay.
So
Wait, how did the fox play into this?
So Amphitryon needed the help of Thebes to go get revenge on the Teleboians.
But these were dealing with the fox.
So Thebes was like, if you go and get rid of the fox, we'll help you.
Okay.
So then now he was away. Alcmene, his like bride to be, right? She said, "I'll marry you if you get revenge for my brothers." Caught the eye of Zeus. So first, Zeus tripled the length of the night, because you can just do that. Then Zeus changed his form to appear like Amphitryon, and went to Alcmene.
Oh.
So he looks like the dude who she's gonna marry. He then goes to her and he recounts all the trials and tribulations of the war. He says "Oh man, it was crazy. We won though, and I'm back, and I love you." And then they slept together, obviously.
Let this be a lesson, kids. Don't have premarital sex.
Right,
then
that's true. They should have been married first.
they should have been married first.
If they had just waited.
She just,
She also, if she had brought up marriage, Zeus would have left. That dude hates commitment. He would have been like, no, sorry, I gotta go back to the war. I didn't avenge all your brothers. Sorry, gotta go.
I only avenged 7 out of 8.
Yeah, I gotta go kill a couple more of them. Gotta hunt down that cow. So, the next day, the real Amphitryon comes back and was pretty confused because now his wife was not excited to see him. And he was like, "Yo, what's the deal?" She was confused because she was like, "You were already back last night. Why are you saying that you're back now?" Amphitryon then went to Tiresias, another seer, right, and asked him what's the deal. And so then he told him what happened. Then that night they slept together also. So then,
9
months later,
mixed together.
Alcmene gave birth to twins.
Oh.
They were born a day apart though, so she gave birth to a kid and then another kid the next day.
Oh.
The younger son was named Iphicles, and there was no doubt that he was the son of Amphitryon. Looked like just like him. As much as a baby can look just like their father, but he did.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah, I mean, it's I think some people can see it. My mom, when Yaga was born, was man, that looks just like my Uncle Charlie.
Oh. Okay.
I think it's a baby, but
Maybe because he's bald, a lot of babies.
Yeah. So the elder son, the son of Zeus, was named Heracles.
Okay.
So there we go. We got there. It was a bit of a windy road, but now
Why
we're
did he
here.
name it after Hera?
Okay, we'll get to that later. His name's not actually Heracles till later.
Oh.
Right now,
Zeus like rechanges his name.
like Heracles kind of changes his name, like after
He
like
goes
a
like the
ceremony.
DMV and is like,
He's like, I want a name change.
yeah.
So yeah, his older son was Heracles. So then his early life, this is similar. When he was 8 months old, Hera, who of course hated him because she was
Bastard
hated
child.
him, of like her husband, sent 2 snakes into Heracles' crib.
Pain and punishment.
Just snakes.
And he tied them together like a knot.
And in some versions, like, so Heracles obviously strangled the 2 snakes. He killed them, no problems. In some versions, which this is kind of interesting, Amphitryon put the snakes in the crib to see which child was his, because maybe it wasn't super obvious, like I said earlier.
It's like a
test.
Ancient paternity test.
So then he saw that Iphicles fled, so he was like, "That's my boy."
Any cow is a son of mine.
Yeah, he saw like Heracles like strangling the snakes, and he was like, "That's not me."
I like that version.
Yeah,
a lot more.
it's pretty funny. So while he was young, Heracles learned many skills: chariot racing, wrestling, archery, fencing, lyre playing, all this sort of stuff, right? So then lyre playing was taught to him by Linos, the brother of Orpheus, which is pretty cool. Orpheus is the guy who goes to the underworld.
Goes down to Hades.
Yeah, exactly.
And tries to take back. Hold on, I know her name. She's a character in Hades.
Mm-hmm.
Ophelia?
His name's Orpheus.
Never mind.
It starts with the E. Eurydice. Eurydice
yeah.
is her name. Yeah.
Euclides is like he made geometry.
Yeah. Yeah. So Linos, anyway, the brother of Orpheus, was teaching him lyre playing, which is crazy because like
It's like a master.
Orpheus is like the god of
It's like
music.
Beethoven like tutoring some random goon
Yeah.
on piano.
So then once Linos grew angry with Heracles because Heracles did not care about the lyre. He's like, I don't want to learn this. And so he struck him. And then Heracles struck back, killing Linos. But he didn't get put in prison because he invoked a law of self-defense. He's like, he hit me first, so I hit him back, killing him. It's fine. So then Amphitryon, seeing the danger that like Heracles like posed to the
Dude, just
people,
slap that dude to death.
and he
Just
died.
one slap and he's dead.
He sent Heracles to like go be a shepherd. He was like, go tend to like the herds in like the outer part of the kingdom. And then Heracles remained like with the herds until he was 18. So he like did not much. He just like looked after sheep and stuff. Then Thespios, who's the king of a place called Thespiae, asked Heracles to hunt down a lion that was killing his cattle. This is not the famous lion. This is just a different lion.
Okay.
So while on the hunt, Heracles was hosted by Thespios for 50 days. Thespios had 50 daughters and sent one to Heracles every night, hoping that their union would bear him strong sons. Heracles, though, thought they were all the same woman. So he didn't recognize that they were different. He thought he was like building a slow relationship with one woman. But no.
Okay, he's a himbo.
He's a himbo.
Okay.
So he would go on to kill the lion and wear its skin around his head. So he wore like the big lion hood thing. It's like his signature look. So he was a. Oh, you like that? Yeah. He's just stupid. I love him.
Were they like all twins?
No, I mean he just had 50. How could they all be twins? He had 50 daughters. He had 50 of them.
One woman just like a hot air, like a zeppelin of babies.
Oh. So then we're leading.
I already love Heracles.
Yeah, he's a mess, and So then like some lead up to kind of the labors, because the labors are kind of his main like the bread and butter of the Heracles story, right? So, but once again, there's a lot of layers here. We do need another bit of backstory real quick. So Clymenos was the king of the minions. Not
But no, he was Gru. He adopted 3 little daughters.
Not that one.
And stole the moon.
Right. Yeah, Clymenos, aka Gru, got a rock thrown at him by a Theban. It's not that funny, but I just keeping a joke going a bit longer than it should have been sometimes just gets to me. Okay. He got a rock thrown by him by a Theban and was like gravely injured.
It's the whole moon, man.
As he lay dying, he instructed his son Ergonos to avenge him. So he died from the rock. Ergonos then gathered the troops and viciously attacked Thebes, totally like destroying them. They then drafted a treaty saying that Thebes had to give the minions tribute of 100 cattle each year for 20 years. So like a bunch of cattle.
Mm-hmm.
So then Ergonos sent an envoy to collect the cattle. But guess who was watching the cows this time that he went to go get the cattle? Heracles.
Mm-hmm.
So Heracles didn't...
So he upgraded from watching sheep to watching cows?
Yeah, I mean, I assume he's probably watching cows as well. Just like all the herds. Because
Mm-hmm.
he was just like, I want you out of the city. So the envoy shows up and is like, okay, we demand our 100 cows.
Mm-hmm.
And Heracles did not like that. So what he did is he cut off their nose, ears, and hands and then tied them to their neck with a cord, saying, take that as tribute. He's crazy.
That's wild.
It's wild. Ergonos obviously was outraged. He wasn't actually there. He sent people, right?
Mm-hmm.
So like Ergonos was outraged and marched against Thebes. Heracles then took command and led Thebes to victory, killing Ergonos himself.
Okay.
So yeah, so they he's just like leading these people like on a charge.
Is he? By the way, I just don't.
Yeah.
Is he immortal?
No,
He's just super strong.
He's a demigod, so he's
Okay.
like half god. So he's like pretty strong, and that's kind of it.
Is Zeus super strong? I just thought his power was lightning.
He doesn't get his power. I think so. Often, so most of the heroes in like Greek myth are like children of gods,
Mhm.
but like
It's not hereditary.
it's not a 1-for-1 like in like Percy Jackson, where like if you're a child of Poseidon, you get Poseidon's powers.
Mhm.
You're often just kind of strong.
Mm.
Like, you don't really get any cool abilities
Okay.
most of the time. I'm trying to think of like an example that contradicts it, but I can't. Like most of them are just like pretty strong / intelligent dudes, or like because they're children of a god, they have a relationship with a god and can like call down their influence sometimes. So like if a son of Poseidon was like, sailing, they could
Mhm.
probably be like, Poseidon bless this voyage, and they probably wouldn't have any trouble.
Mhm.
But like most of the time, not any like straight up cool powers. He's just like a big dude who's very strong.
Mm-hmm.
He killed a dude with one slap. Then, so as a reward for like beating these people who had like been taking cows from them for years, Creon, king of Thebes, gifted Heracles his eldest daughter, Megara.
Oh.
So yeah, she's real. She's not like a cool like spunky.
She didn't sell her soul to Hades.
No,
Oh, so Hades isn't involved in this yet, or
Not yet.
at all.
no. I mean, no. Yeah, no.
Oh, okay.
Not yet. He will get involved much later, but not yet.
Mhm.
So some other awards that he got was a sword from Hermes, a bow and arrows from Apollo, which is crazy, a golden breastplate from Hephaestus.
Wait, from the gods themselves, or like the king just?
King
owned
just,
them?
I guess, had these things
Okay.
and gave them. But I think the gods might have actually like descended, been like, "Wow, you are amazing. Here, have these gifts."
Mhm.
A robe from Athena, and they didn't address if this was from anybody, but he also just made himself a club, like just a big stick,
Mhm.
and he's mostly going to be using the club.
Is it the club that hit the cow?
Dude, oh my god, I wish. No, I think it's a new club.
Oh man,
Yeah, I know.
this is.
I'm sorry. This is not as poetic as
Yeah,
like
yeah.
it should be.
Mhm.
However, so he was happy, right? He was like, he had all these gifts, and he was
Mhm.
like married to this new woman, Megara, and then they had a couple kids, right? So that's good, nice.
I did not know this guy had kids.
Yeah, he had like 2 kids.
Does the son of a demigod, is he like a fourth god?
They're probably like,
They're
probably-
like stronger than you.
yeah, they're like stronger than usual, but they don't get like their own cool story about them
Mhm.
most of the time. Although Heracles, his kids have some stories about them, but nothing like that cool,
Yeah.
like nothing like this level. But so Hera then cast a curse on Heracles, forcing him into madness.
Oh, and he kills his
And
wife.
in this madness, he threw not only his children, but also the children of Iphicles, his brother, into the fire. Killing. So he killed his children and then also his nephew.
Wait, how does his children have cool stories if they were
He
barbecued?
has kids later.
Okay.
So he doesn't actually kill his wife. Interestingly enough, I thought he did too,
Mhm.
but then according to this version, he didn't kill Megara. He just killed their kids.
Mhm.
So now he wakes up from his madness and he's like, "What did I do?" He's like horrified. So he looks for a way to be forgiven for his crimes. So he goes to Delphi. So the oracle at Delphi is like the biggest oracle. Like if you need an answer, you go there like before anywhere else because they're like the best.
They're like Ask Jeeves.
Yeah. Well, you also probably have like a local seer, but they're like the mega ass.
They're
Jeeves.
beings.
They're
So the local seers are being.
right, and
This
then
lady-
the
This lady's
the oracle at
Google.
Delphi.
Let's
is
lose
Google.
the Jeeves because I don't
Deep cut.
I've never used it.
No, I don't.
I
Me
was
neither.
too young.
So yeah, he goes to Delphi to try to get some answers. So the oracle, also this is the time where he's called Heracles for the first time. The oracle's the one who calls him that. Before this, his name was Alcides.
Okay.
So that was his name. I didn't bring it up earlier because it was only written here, and I
Mhm.
didn't write it earlier, which I probably should have. So his name was Alcide.
Drink some water,
I need to
man.
drink some water, dude. Alcides.
It really worked.
Dude. So he went to the oracle, and so they told him, you should go to Tyrrhenes and serve under Eurysthenes for 12 years and to accomplish 10 labors under him. So in order,
it wasn't 12?
So it's
Maybe extra credit?
We'll get to that.
Okay.
So after these 10 labors, he would become immortal. So the oracle foresees that you will become like immortal after you do these labors, though.
Mm-hmm.
So now Heracles goes to Eurysthenes and is like, all right, like hit me up with that first task. I'm ready to kind of get these out of the way because he wants to kind of be immortal.
Why does it, I thought he was trying to atone for his
So he is. So he's like, this will atone for that.
becoming just getting a cool, awesome power.
Doing the 10 labors is like kind of penance.
Mm-hmm.
Then I guess the oracle just kind of tacked on after that. It's like, oh, after that you'll be forgiven, but also you'll get the perk of being immortal.
Okay.
So he goes to Eurysthenes, and so Eurysthenes sent Heracles to go and fetch the skin of the Nemean lion. So this is the famous lion.
Yeah, he's a big lion.
He's a big lion. So the Nemean lion was a lion born from Typhon and Echidna, which are like these two like kind of like ancient deities that are the parents of like all monsters. Like all monsters kind of come from their union, these two like primordial beings.
Is an echidna just a real animal? Like,
Yeah, an echidna is an animal.
It's Knuckles.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes.
Wait, what was the first animal?
Typhon is his name.
I was just trying to think of another cartoon character.
Right,
It didn't work.
But I like the Knuckles
Yeah, he's
analogy.
Knuckles.
So, but this lion has impenetrable skin.
He flies and he has pointy knuckles too.
The lion?
Yeah, because he's descended
Because
from
he's descended from Knuckles the Echidna?
He's the guardian of the chaos emerald.
He doesn't really fly, though. He just does a weird glide.
He just falls.
Yeah, slowly. But the Nemean lion, what he actually has is some like impenetrable skin. It's like no weapon can like pierce it.
Mhm.
Like, is that what like Luke Cage is? I haven't actually seen Luke Cage,
Yeah.
but he's like bulletproof or something.
Can I guess on how he kills this lion?
Sure.
Does he just choke it out?
Maybe. You'll start to learn that might or might not be Heracles' solution.
His calling card.
His solution to everything.
Is that how he kills the Hydra? Like, I can't slice these heads off. I'm just gonna choke them all.
Maybe. Dude, stop guessing it. So Heracles reached Nemea and tracked down the lion. He tried to shoot it with arrows, but they bounced off the skin, right? That's like the whole thing. He then chased after it with his club, but the lion took refuge in a cave with two entrances. So like a tunnel, I guess. He just went into this cave and has like two kind of ends.
So it's kind of like when you try to chase someone around a table, like he would come in from one end and then the lion would go at the other.
Right.
And then you would wrap around and go in through the other
But then you
end,
go back
and then
in.
You go back through.
Yeah. So Heracles was getting fed up with this like this cat and mouse game. So what he did is he like walled off one entrance.
Mm-hmm.
He just like rolled a boulder in front of it. They don't actually go into detail of how he did it, but I assume just rolled a
I'm
boulder.
assuming he just rolled.
He didn't just like build a wall.
Oh, okay. I thought you meant they didn't go into detail on how he rolled the boulder over.
No, they didn't go into
entrance.
detail on how he
like,
covered the.
Okay.
It seems self-explanatory. He just pushed it. So then he lay hiding on like the only exit that the lion could now leave from. So when the lion came out, so he was like above it, and Heracles like just leaps
He just like leaps on it like a little leapfrog.
Yeah, exactly. He falls right on top of the lion, and he then choked the lion to death. So you called it 1 for 1. He hoisted it then on his shoulders and head back. The whole endeavor only took him like 30 days. So it's like a really quick
That
labor.
doesn't seem very quick to kill one lion.
I mean, he had to track it. That was the thing. It like kept
okay.
running away.
Okay.
So then he returned to Eurysthenes, who from now on I'm going to call him Yuri because Eurysthenes is long.
Mm-hmm.
So Yuri was too spooked by Heracles' strength.
Oh my god, it's a big lion, dude.
God,
that is a very deep cut.
I like
it's
that.
It's so
though.
deep.
Oh my god! It's the big lion. So he wasn't scared of the lion. Actually, he was scared of Heracles. He was like, "This dude just killed this lion." Yeah. So he didn't let him back into the city. He told him to like display his like trophies outside the gate. So basically, Yuri would like come to the gate, look out, and be like, "Yeah, that's the lion," and then be like, "You did it."
Good job, buddy.
So he was so scared of Heracles that he made himself like a bronze. So it's described as a bronze capsule beneath the ground to hide in. It's like a panic bunker. in case Heracles ever got into the city, he could run to his panic bunker.
That's
and, like,
so funny.
I know. And he never talked to Heracles after this. He just like sent.
He just ghosted him after he dealt with his lion problem.
He sent. No, this is the guy who sent Heracles on the trial in the first place.
Right, that's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
Like he sent him on the quest.
Right.
To
he's gonna don't worry. He's gonna send him on like 10 more quests, but he's gonna do that through a herald. He's gonna like send someone to like give him a note, say this is your next quest, because he didn't want to talk to Heracles anymore.
Was he scared of Heracles before?
No, he didn't know anything about this dude.
Okay, so the fact that he killed the lion is like the thing that he wanted him to do is like that's scary.
He's like, I can't believe he did. The
okay,
thing I wanted him to do.
I didn't think he could do it.
They've kind of like a lot of interpretations of this kind of setup make Eurysthenes out to try to kill Heracles by sending him on impossible tasks. Mm-hmm. But the myth that I read from Apollodorus didn't establish a relationship between Eurysthenes and Heracles for that motivation to exist.
Mm-hmm.
So I assume that's kind of like later authors trying to like give a reason for why this dude is just giving him impossible tasks. Right? Like wanting him to fail. Like if he wanted to, he could just give him like hard, but like much more doable tasks. Like, I don't know, go like farm an entire field of pumpkins or whatever. They didn't grow pumpkins, but like something. But so now he had to order for the second labor. Second labor is another popular
Wait,
one.
hold on. Did he not make like armor or anything out of this lion skin?
So
That
he
seems
did.
like...
He did exchange kind of the lion skin he already wore for like this one. So
Okay.
he looked the same. Like he didn't like you couldn't tell a difference. But now this
But now
lion skin
the arrows
was
plink off.
way better.
Yeah.
So the second labor, Uri then orders Heracles to slay the Lernaean Hydra.
Okay.
Yeah. So this Hydra was another child of Typhon and Echidna, but this time was actually raised by Hera to be an adversary for Heracles. So like she raised this beast like with this explicit goal of trying to like take down Heracles with it.
Does he know that or like?
No.
Okay. That's some advanced planning. She knew that this
Right?
this dude would make Heracles.
She's a
to
goddess.
deal
She
with
just
it.
like knows all this stuff, I
Okay.
guess. So the Hydra then had an enormous body, like huge girth, and then 9 heads. The number of heads actually varies. Like in some stories,
It's 8.
some stories it's 8, but regardless, like all but one of the heads are mortal, as in they can be killed, and one of them is immortal.
What does the body look like? You said it's girthy.
Yeah,
but,
it's like a big kind of
Is it
like
a snake or is it like a lizard?
it's got legs, like a big lizard thing, like a big dragon kind of.
Okay.
Um,
Like with 2 legs or 4?
I think it had 4.
Okay.
But a lot of the kind of visuals of the Hydra are from a lot of the visual of any monster in like ancient Greek stuff is like from like pottery.
Pots, yeah.
Yeah. So often they would pretty minimize a lot of the
they would just
detail.
show the
They would-
heads,
yeah,
'cause
exactly. Because
the
that's
most
like the important.
Yeah.
That's the important part. Like no one cares about the Hydra except for the heads and a couple other parts. So Heracles, he was like, I can't do this alone. I need. Well, actually, that's not what he said. He needed a ride because he didn't want to walk all the way there. So he recruited Iolaus, his nephew, to serve as his charioteer to like drive him as a chauffeur to all these different places.
Hold on, just a question.
Yeah.
What's his relationship with his stepbrother after he
They don't-
barbecued his babies?
Iphicles does not come up ever.
Okay.
Probably not good, but good enough that Iphicles was like, "Yeah, you can take my son as your charioteer, I guess. You killed 2 of my kids already, but I guess you can have a
barbecued
third
the
one."
first 2, but you know
But
what?
I've had others now.
Yeah, it's
not a
like
big deal.
I don't like this one.
I can
You
make more.
barbecue him.
Yeah, exactly. You can take him to fight the Hydra, and it's fine. So the 2 make their way to the mouth of the river Emimone, which is in Lerna, which is where the Hydra is. They found the Hydra's lair, and then Heracles just like threw some torches in to like drive it outside. They wanted it to come out of the cave. When it emerged, what did Heracles do? He tackled it and like bashed its head with his club. So he just started like going at it with his club. But when everyone was destroyed, the classic thing is that 2 grew back. That's like the whole Hydra
I think
thing.
it's more visually appealing when it's cut off and 2 grow in its place. If you just squish
He
it
just
in the
squishes
head,
it, and then like the squishy bits like kind of like out into 2 other heads.
Uh-huh.
That's how I interpreted it, I guess. No, it does make way more sense if the stump thing kind of splits.
Yeah.
The other thing is, it doesn't necessarily say that it splits into more necks, so it could just be 2 heads kind of like right next to each other on the same neck like line.
It's
Just like super crowded.
Like Arthur and Wheezy from Dragon Tales.
Yeah. This is the thing I don't understand. While he's fighting the Hydra, a giant crab shows up and it starts attacking Heracles' feet. Like he was
wait,
yeah.
hold on. Like a giant crab,
A
like
big
bigger
one.
than Heracles, or
No, like
just a big crab,
like a dog-sized crab.
and he's still just nipping at his feet.
He's just grabbing his feet a little bit. So the Hydra like somehow partnered with this crab and was like, "You're gonna take him down while I got him distracted." There's no elaboration on why the crab is there. Who sent the crab? Nothing. There's nothing about the crab. Except that then Heracles like just like stomps down and kills the crab. Like, he
Okay.
just like drives his foot like through that like crab body. Then he calls for help of his own. He tells Iolaus to set the nearby forest on fire. So just like set it ablaze. Then Heracles then uses his strength to kind of like force the Hydra like into the forest as he's like wrestling with it. Where he then like as he's wrestling again reaches out and like grabs flaming branches off the trees and like cauterizes the head wounds so they don't regenerate. So like
The squished bits.
yeah, so basically he somehow like I guess has his legs like wrapped around the Hydra, bashes it with his club, then grabs a flaming thing and like like cauterizes the wound, so then the heads don't
Okay,
grow
so
back.
you know how you said like it doesn't say that he grows more necks, just more heads. Does it get
Yeah.
to a point where like there's like one neck and it's got like a flower of heads just all around it?
I'd like to think so.
Yeah.
Although there is kind of a dragon like that in mythology as well that just has like 100 heads and they're all just kind of like a mess. He's actually in this story. We'll meet him later.
Cool.
So then Heracles so cauterized the Hydra neck so they wouldn't grow back. Then, when he had narrowed the Hydra down to only one head, right, the immortal one, who like as much as he bashed it, it wouldn't like die. He then cut it off. He cut off the immortal head, and then dug a deep hole and buried it, and then placed a very heavy rock over it.
So it's still there.
So the head is supposedly still there to this day. I guess when they said that only one head is immortal, they literally just meant the head because the body died. Like the head is still alive in a deep hole somewhere. I'm gonna be honest.
I thought the way you why were you all like stop guessing? He didn't strangle the Hydra.
I mean, he like kind of did. He tackled it. He likes to tackle things. I guess is more accurate than strangling.
I thought he would like tube tie, like make a balloon animal out of the neck.
He like. Oh, it could have been like an epic kind of like flashback to his childhood. He was like, oh, I tied those snakes in a knot. I'll just do the same thing again with all these snake heads. But now he just...
Maybe that happens in the movie, and that's why I thought it happened.
Oh, maybe. He does fight a Hydra in the movie, doesn't he?
Yeah, I'm pretty sure he ties it. Or I don't know.
Could be.
Makes a balloon dog.
This one, there's a lot of fire involved. He then, this is important, he then dips all his arrows in the blood of the Hydra, which is like incredibly poisonous. This is like going to be his trump card going forward. Forever. He never runs out of these arrows. He must have had like them? Probably if he goes and grabs them. Some situations though it really
doesn't seem possible.
Pretty difficult for him to go get it. Yeah.
He just shoots it into the sea and kills like a kraken.
And he's just like, I gotta go get that arrow. Sorry,
I'm running out.
It's like an insta kill arrow I needed.
It's overpowered.
Yeah. So after all this, he heads back to Eurysthenes, Yuri, and then finds out that Yuri says this labor isn't gonna count because Heracles had Iolaus' help.
Wow.
Does not count. So that's how we're going to get into the 12 labors.
Okay.
So this one, it doesn't count at all. It's now the third labor.
It does seem like this guy hates this dude.
Right? Like, that's what I really want to know this relationship, but there's nothing. Nothing that I could find in this source anyway. So then Yuri wanted Heracles to bring the Cerinthian hind, which is a deer. Like a hind is just a word for a deer.
Okay.
This deer had big golden antlers, and it was sacred to Artemis. It's a little bit of backstory about the deer. Zeus was trying to rape a woman named Tegete, who was a daughter of Atlas. That's not important, but she is. Artemis saved her by turning her into a deer with the golden horns. So then I guess Zeus was just like, ew, yucky, an animal.
But he did like after Zeus lost interest.
Yeah,
he didn't change her back. All right.
It is said that this deer is to remain ever the hunted. Even when it is killed, it will kind of like get reborn to be hunted again.
Okay.
So Heracles didn't want to like hurt or kill the deer because Artemis would be super upset with him because it's like sacred to her. So he tracked it for a full year. He just like followed it, like kind of like slowly trying to creep up on it. The deer began to tire from like a year of being hunted and was eventually like crossing a river. And Heracles was able to like capture it and overwhelm it with his strength. In some versions, with this I don't think this is accurate. He shoots it with the arrows, which would have made it just instantly die. So I don't think he did that. In other versions, he uses like a net and like grabs it and just like kind of holds it. He then carries the deer, and then on his like trip back, he actually runs into Artemis and Apollo, just kind of like chilling in the forest. And she's like, dude, you better...
Is that my deer?
Is that my deer? Hold on, let me check those. Are those golden horns? You got to release that deer right now. So then Heracles like pleads. He's like, dude, I'm just trying to do my quest for this dude to get repentance for killing my kids. I'm going to release the deer after those. Fine, don't worry about it. So Artemis is convinced and it's like, okay, yeah, you can go bring the deer back. Heracles then returned with the deer still alive. Yuri saw it, was like, cool, and just let it go.
he splays it out in front of the castle, in the front of the walls. He's like, that golden horns? All right, cool. And he just like, and the deer just hops off into the forest.
So then the fourth labor. A lot of these kind of like fly by because they're pretty simple, right? Just go get a thing. This one is to hunt the Erymanthian boar. Now there's
a lot of animals involved.
Yeah.
There's way more animals than I thought.
Right. It's just a lot of big animals.
Yeah.
This one, though, is a bit of a mess. So on his way to Pisophis, which is where the boar is, Heracles passes through a region called Pholo, and he stops and he's entertained by the centaur Pholos. So he hangs out with the centaur. The centaur then served
mad chilling
roasted meat to Heracles, but then ate raw meat himself. That's just a centaur detail. They don't cook their meat.
Okay.
Not essential at all.
I would think centaurs are herbivores. They just
no.
They just like eat grass.
So they have like a human body, right? You think they just kind of like lean all the way over and just like nibble?
Or just like pluck it up with their hands.
Oh yeah, they can just shove it. Oh, that makes way more sense. Why would they not just like grow and harvest it? Why would they
bend all the way over
like a horse and eat it? Yeah, it's dumb. So then Heracles was like enjoying the meat, right? He asked for some wine, and then so the once jubilant Pholos becomes like much more reserved and nervous. He's like, I don't know. We probably shouldn't open the wine. He said that he did have a jar containing wine, but they should not open it because it's been deemed the property of all centaurs, and to open it without the others would be like bad. So he shouldn't do it. The other thing is centaurs are often driven mad by the scent of wine. so it's only opened on very special occasions. Heracles wasn't listening and opens the jar. The scent then wafts across the nearby hills, drawing the attention of every centaur around. Then they arrive at the abode of Pholos, armed with rocks and fir trees, which this completely skews my perspective of how big a centaur is. Because they're just carrying a fir tree as a weapon.
What is a fir tree?
It's like a pine tree.
Oh.
Yeah, it's like a Douglas fir is what a lot of people use for Christmas trees.
Mm-hmm.
So they can be up to 12 feet tall, and they're just kind of holding this thing as like a weapon.
Bobbles on them too.
I hope so. That would kind of be extra damage, right? They'd shatter and you get the explosion. So then the centaurs try to enter, and Heracles begins hurling torches at them again. I guess it's another move of his.
His 3 special moves: tackling, throwing fire, and these poison arrows.
And the poison arrows, dude. God, that's his one hit KO move.
Mm-hmm.
So he throws the torches at them.
I have to give it to Hercules though. Yeah. This is kind of the best situation for using fire because when you throw fire at them, they lose their weapon.
That's true. Just cast a tree on fire and then what?
Yeah.
Again, although they do have a moment where they then have a flaming weapon, which is pretty cool. That's true. But then after it's very low durability. Yeah. So the centaurs then run away. They're okay, we're not gonna mess with this dude. Mm-hmm. Heracles then chases them all the way to Malia, which I couldn't find out exactly how far away that was. Mm-hmm. But the way they describe it, it sounds like it's a different country. He just runs for weeks chasing these centaurs to get revenge for them, just trying to drink the wine that he was drinking.
Okay.
Yeah. So the centaurs then sought refuge with Chiron, which is the wisest and noblest of all the centaurs. He's the one who taught Achilles and a bunch of other ancient heroes. He teaches a bunch of people. He's known as being the intelligent civil centaur. Most centaurs are
he's like the centaur in Harry Potter that became a professor.
Yeah, or he is just literally the camp counselor of Camp Half-Blood.
What is that?
In Percy Jackson.
I've never.
Okay, Charon is just the caretaker of the children.
Is he named Charon?
Yeah, it's just this. It's the same dude.
Okay, so not
a reference. Just it's him.
It's just a him.
Yeah. The wise. Well, yeah.
Not
the
a
wise,
metaphor.
No, it's not a metaphor. It's a direct stealing. So Heracles continued his assault, not even caring, right? And eventually hits Chiron in the knee with a poisoned arrow.
Oof.
Yeah. So Heracles was horrified because this dude is the teacher of all the famous heroes that Heracles would know. He'd know of Achilles and all these people, right? Mm-hmm. So he's horrified. He runs in and tries to help, but the wound is incurable.
Just rip the leg off?
Chiron is immortal, so he cannot die. Uh-huh. But, the other thing to note is that Heracles was shooting these arrows at the centaurs as they were running away, so he's killed probably hundreds of centaurs at this point.
Oh.
Yeah. And this is a situation where it does make sense that he could grab the arrow as he's just chasing after the centaurs, just grab them out of the dead bodies. So Chiron is immortal, so he cannot die, but is instead in constant unending pain. Mm-hmm. So he returns to his cave and he desperately wishes to die. He's please let me escape this suffering. But he can't. Prometheus would eventually offer to take Chiron's immortality so that the centaur could finally be in peace, which is this whole weird exchange of immortality, which kind of comes up later. So after Chiron is hit with the arrow and kind of slinks back to his
just
cave,
let me die, man.
The rest of the centaurs scatter. Mm-hmm. So then cut back to Pholos, who's back in his home, right?
Dude, okay.
Yeah.
I just gotta say.
By the way, this is the quest to go and kill the boar.
Super dick move.
Which one?
This whole thing.
Yeah.
He was mad chilling with the centaur. He gave him cooked meat, and he was like, I don't want you to drink that. He drank it. And then he got mad at the guys getting mad at him. Yeah, exactly. And then he chased and killed them all.
And then killed
their main leader.
Yes, the main
They killed their
leader.
president.
Well, it's only just begun because then... So cut back to Pholos, right? The centaur at the beginning who gave him the cooked meat, is examining one of the corpses of his brethren and pulls out an arrow and he's like, wow, this thing's crazy. It killed the centaur in one hit. Mm-hmm. He then drops it. It goes into his foot and he dies.
I thought that would be plot relevant.
No.
No.
Heracles then returns from his centaur genocide.
Wait, hold on. Sorry. Just 1 second. Before we move on.
Sure. Yeah, we can dwell on this. I don't mind.
He dropped it on his hoof, right?
Yeah, I don't know.
A hoof doesn't stick out. It's vertical. He drops it. It doesn't skim his knee or leg, and it hits specifically his hoof.
It said his foot.
Okay.
But the other thing is a hoof is like a fingernail, right? It's kind of a similar. So if it pierced his hoof, it wouldn't get into his bloodstream.
I think
you think
there's
so?
I think there's nerves and stuff.
Okay, I don't know anything about horses.
Okay.
So Heracles then returns from his centaur genocide and finds Pholos dead. Mm-hmm. He's just super sad about it, so he buries him. And then he went to hunt the boar that his quest was actually about. He chased the boar far up a mountain, eventually trapping it with a noose, and as it trudged through the snow because they were at snow at the top of this mountain.
Is a noose like a lasso?
Yeah.
Okay. He didn't hang it from a tree.
No. So the issue with the centaurs, by the way, was 15 really long run-on sentences in this whole thing. The actual boar, which was the quest, was a single sentence. It's basically just like he finds the boar and kills it. I'm like, that's the whole quest. Oh, so then he goes back into the fifth labor. Like that labor's over. He shows the boar, and
do people like centaurs?
No.
Oh, okay. So it was a good thing that he did this.
Good, I don't know, but people weren't upset.
They
by
weren't
it.
plussed.
Most centaurs are like
they were nonplussed.
Yeah, most centaurs are like kind of war hungry and they do a lot of killing and stuff. Like Chiron is like the reason that they emphasize how much he's like wise stuff is he's the exception.
Yeah.
Most of them are kind of like animals, like, and they go mad from the scent of wine and stuff like that.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm not condoning it, but a lot of people were like, whatever.
Yeah.
Yeah, like Heracles and Hercules in Roman times. By the way, you're right that Heracles is Heracles in Greece, and then in Rome they changed it to Hercules.
Oh, okay.
Anyway, but
what did they name Hera in Rome? Like Jupiter?
It's Juno is her name.
Okay.
Just not related.
She's named like Junoise.
So there was like a lot of like reverence for Heracles. He's like the hero of like mythology, right? So you'd kind of want to emulate him. Mm-hmm. So like nothing he did, even though like to us it might seem bad, was probably not frowned. Like they were all like good on him. Mm-hmm. So the fifth labor, this one's not directly animal related.
What do you mean directly?
So Eury now ordered Heracles to remove the dung of the cattle of Augeas in a single day. So Augeas,
like a mad poop pile.
Augeas had a bunch of herds of cattle that he never cleaned up after. Mm-hmm. So this whole pen that they were in, just like they were probably up to their necks in their own feces. These poor cows.
You know what this is like?
What?
Remember in Die Everyone Be Kid when the dog sat for someone and he didn't clean up their poop because I'll just do it all in one go, and then she came home early. Did you think I was going to reference the American beef industry?
Yes, I thought, you know what this is like? Factory farming.
It is like factory farming, but I thought that was a little bit too dour.
No, well, I'm sorry. I shouldn't have brought it up. I much prefer references to Die Everyone Be Kid.
Mm-hmm. D-cut.
Yeah, another one. So, Augeas owned many herds of cattle, but he never cleaned it.
Your gays.
Oh my God. Heracles thought that he could maybe sweeten this deal, though, right? So he goes to Augeas and offers, he's like, dude, I'll clean your stables in a single day if you give me 1/10 of your cattle.
Okay.
He did not tell Augeas that he had to do it anyway because he like for his quest, right?
Sweeten the pot.
Yeah, he's just like, I'll do it for, I would do you a favor. Mm-hmm. Augeas is like, yo, that's impossible. Mm-hmm. So yeah, I'll agree. Mm-hmm. Because in a single day is crazy. So then Augeas instructed his son, Phyleus, to watch over Heracles and make sure that everything was
above the board.
Yeah, exactly. Heracles then goes up to the big cattle pen thing and like just bashes in a section of the wall, just like destroys it. He then goes to a nearby river and just digs a trench, redirecting the river. So then the river just flows into the cattle pen, just flooding it. I assume he got the cattle out before he did this.
they just float up.
Then what he does is once it's like totally flooded, he goes in and bashes a hole in the other side of the wall, so the water all leaves like downhill. Then he corrects the flow of the water, and boom, it's clean.
He just moved it somewhere else.
Yeah. You know what that's like? The American industrial complex with pollution. I don't know what I'm saying.
Okay. Leave the scathing criticisms of
to
America.
You're right. Yeah. It's not my natural habitat.
Yeah, you're just like, I want a Pepsi. I like Coke.
I don't like Coke. I want a lick-a-tongue figure.
I saw an ad for Coke, and now I want Coke.
Dude, those polar bear ads though, they get me every time.
What about the one? You know what? This is no. That's
no. Go ahead.
No. Remember the ad where Coke, like some lady stopped a protest by giving someone a Coke?
It was a Pepsi.
It was a Pepsi.
Okay. Pepsi got a lot of hate for that ad.
Yeah, rightfully so.
Dude, imagine if they put that ad out now.
like there's a Black Lives Matter rally
and like police and riot shields. They're just like, here's a Pepsi.
They're like shooting rubber bullets and like someone's like crawling through like there's bullets flying overhead and they like offer up a can of Pepsi.
Oh my God. You know, it's kind of funny when like companies are completely tone deaf.
Mm-hmm.
It's so funny. Anyway. So he bashed in a section of the other wall, the water drained out. Heracles then went to collect his reward from Augeas, right? He was like, I cleaned out your stable single day, I get 1/10 of your cattle. Augeas had since found out that Heracles like had to clean it out anyway. Mm-hmm. And he would have had to do it without even paying him. Yeah, the task was to do it in a day.
Well, no, like he figured this out in a day.
Yeah, he like must have just been like, hey, Heracles is here. That's crazy. And someone's like, oh yeah, he's doing 12 labors for Eurysthenes, and one of them was to clean out your cattle, mm-hmm. which somehow everyone knows about.
Right. Hold on. What was I gonna say? Why did he want these cattle? Was he just like mad hungry?
Oh, Heracles?
Yeah.
Cattle is profit. They're just like net profit because you can just milk them or whatever.
Yeah.
No, it doesn't specifically say
do
why he
cattle
wanted them.
specifically refer to male cows, or is cattle?
I think
just
it's
like
I think
all
it's
cows?
mixed. I think you get like
Okay.
a couple. You get some bulls. You don't.
Oh,
I think you probably
a male cow's like a bull, and a female is a steer. No, a steer is also a male.
yeah. Steer's
Steer's
male.
a castrated male. What is a female cow? Is it just a cow?
Oh God, yeah, probably.
Yeah, okay.
You'd probably get a couple bulls because then you could breed the cows and get more cows. So Algaeus denies Heracles his reward. He's like, even going as far to say that he had never made that deal in the first place, which was a weird move. The two eventually would bring this issue to tribunal. So suddenly this became like a courtroom drama where like,
dun dun.
yeah, the judges then took their seats. And after hearing both sides of the story from Heracles and Algaeus, they request the testimony of Phyleus, the son. And they're like, so what did you see? And Phyleus is like, I can't lie.
Just punched a river into the ground.
I can't lie. My father did say that he would pay him the cattle if he did it. Algaeus flies into a rage, banishing his son. He's like, how dare you like go against me? Heracles got his cattle because like
I thought okay.
The law stipulates that he had to get his cattle. Now, on his way back to Uri for the next task, Heracles encountered Dexamenos, who was being forced to give his daughter away to become the bride of Eurytion, a centaur. Heracles could not abide this injustice.
I messed those centaurs up. Just drop my name, he'll drop it.
I am the bringer of death.
I am the bringer. Centaurs everywhere.
I am become centaur death. So Heracles lay in wait, and when Eurytion came to accept his bride, Heracles jumped out and killed him with a poison arrow. So that another situation could have gotten it back very easily. Just kills the centaur, grabs his arrow.
Why did he need to jump out to kill it with the arrow? Couldn't he have just shot it from the bush?
Drama, I guess. When Heracles eventually arrived back in Mycenae, Eurysthenes said that this labor would also not count because Heracles got paid for it. That's why it's important that he got his cattle.
Oh.
Yeah.
Why? Do you think that he was just a really bad shot with his bow, so he was just stabbing them with the arrows, and that's why he needed to jump out?
I hope that's so much better. He did, unfortunately. There is like records of him learning archery as a child, so he probably was okay at it.
But what if he like hated it, like the lute or the lyre? He's like, this is dumb. I'm gonna go.
I'm not gonna need to shoot things. I'll just run up and stab them, or bash them with my club, or hug them till they die. The sixth labor, another animal-based one. He was ordered to drive off the Stymphalian birds. So these were birds who had settled in a dense forest near the lake of Stymphalis, and in some accounts these birds were man-eaters, like they would eat people. They would attack the nearby city of Stymphalos and eat the children. So they're bad. So the quest was to get rid of them. Heracles was at a loss. He did not know how to drive these birds away. He tried, and they would just ignore him.
They would fly away.
They'd fly away and then come back. So he prayed to the gods for guidance. Athena then descended upon him.
Hold on, can I guess how this works out?
Sure.
Does he get a Pegasus to go and hunt down?
No.
Oh.
Way better.
Oh. He grows wings?
Athena descends upon him and gave him a set of bronze castanets.
The clacky instrument.
Yeah.
Okay, let's see how this goes.
They had been fashioned by Hephaestus, the god of the forge and all this stuff. So Heracles,
the one who granted fire?
The Prometheus is the fire guy. Hephaestus is he's the god of blacksmith and stuff like that. So he's the best at it. Heracles climbs a mountain with a view of the lake and begins to rattle the castanets.
Just doing a little dance?
Yeah, just doing a
little flamenco?
Exactly. The birds are unable to bear the noise and took off in flight. Heracles then brings them all down with his arrows. So the quest is just get rid of them, but he's the best way to make sure they don't come back is so they're dead. So he just kills them all. So the castanets work pretty well.
Yeah.
Bit of a roundabout way to get there though, for sure.
Yeah.
I love the bronze castanets. They're one of my favorite bits of this story. They
Do you think that some king was like, you see these? These are the brass castanets.
Dude, that is 100% a thing that a king did. In the ancient Greek world, these are the bronze castanets of Heracles.
He whispers
to drive away the Stymphalian birds, dude. And then there's a street peddler selling hundreds of bronze castanets, be genuine Heracles.
He opens up his trench coat, there's castanets all up.
You want to buy some castanets? So success. What?
My guess of the Pegasus was so wrong.
Dude, I loved it when you guessed Pegasus. I was like, oh man, he's not gonna see this one coming. Hey, sorry to interrupt again. It's me, editing Zion. I'm just here to pop in and say that the myth of Heracles has so much juicy stuff packed into it that we couldn't fit it into a single episode. So thank you all for listening to the It's a Classic podcast. Be sure to tune in next time for the conclusion of the Heracles story. Be sure to follow us on all of our socials. That includes Twitter and Instagram and all those good things. And have a great day.